This episode is sponsored by Realtor.com, who wants you to take advantage of your free profile on Realtor.com. By claiming and completing your free profile, adding a photo, and all of the information that puts you head and shoulders above the competition, you're on your way to receiving free leads, helping search engines find you, and staying top of mind with past clients. To learn more about claiming your free profile, go to Realtor.com/profile.
Welcome to the Real View podcast, where Ohio Realtors connect you to innovators and influencers, keeping you with the real view of real estate. Whether you're a broker, agent, first-time homebuyer, industry leader, or just happen to stumble upon our podcast today, you can expect to hear tips, tools, tricks, interesting information, and so much more from the experts in Ohio's real estate game. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Real View podcast. I am your host, Allison Wiley. Joining me today is our special guest. He is no stranger to the realtor world. You have seen him at many of our events and other industry events around the country. He's traveling all the time. I am so happy to welcome on Mike Leimeister, the Vice President of Industry Relations at Realtor.com. Mike, welcome on to the show.
Thank you for having me, Allison. This is such a wonderful treat to get to spend time with you and be on the podcast that you've really taken to the next level over the past almost 3 years.
It's crazy. It's been quite a journey. And I know you guys have been such a big supporter of the podcast and one of our favorite sponsors and partners in all of this. So, I can't thank you enough for believing in us and what we do and for all of your support. And I'm so happy to be talking to you and getting to know a little bit more about you and the Realtor.com world and what it can offer, to our Ohio realtors.
Yes, I'm happy to be here and share some of my learnings over the years and be able to maybe get to know me a little bit better. A lot of folks in Ohio I've been able to spend time with, but there's many of realtors and brokers out there that just don't get to connect. And this is a great opportunity to deliver some of that content and share ways that we can work better together. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started. We're going to talk about, everything you just mentioned, learn a little bit more about you and your world. But I want to start just with the basics and some background information and history on you. Tell us your career path and journey, what's led you to where you are today at Realtor.com. And tell us a little bit about your life, history, career journey, and what's led you to Realtor.com.
It's been a unique journey. As the story goes, I grew up in Ohio. I'm an Ohio kid, but most don't know I was actually born in Beaufort, South Carolina. So back in 1980, there I dated myself for those listening. There was no hospital in Hilton Head Island. And so Beaufort is where I started. My journey in real estate actually started very early on because my aunt and uncle moved from Ohio back in 1976 and started their own business in Hilton Head with building. So they were builders. My father moved down there and was working with them when I was born. And then as he went down the path, he moved back to Ohio when I was around 4 or 5, and he started his own building business. So technically, I've been in the real estate industry since day zero.
Wow.
Which has been interesting. I never really thought about that until I started my path in determining where I wanted to take my talents. So I grew up working on building sites, seeing what it was like engaging with homeowners when I was very young. And so I wanted to get into advertising and marketing. I wanted to go get a degree. I went to the university here in Ohio called Bluffton University, now Bluffton. Actually, it was Bluffton College, now Bluffton University. And I picked up and said, I want to go to a big market. And I looked around the country. I looked at New York City, looked at Miami. I ended up landing in Los Angeles. So I drove across the country in July of 2003 with a dream to go try to make it in a big market. I had a marketing degree. So I landed at Realtor.com. It had just so happened that one of my best friends from college, his wife was working at a company called Home Store at the time. And I went through and landed a position in the sales department. And not thinking anything other than I wanted to learn how to evolve, learn how to grow. I had a lot of ambition, but the sales process and learning that very early on in my career was critical. If you talk about realtors and brokers and just understanding how do you deliver value to the marketplace? How do you help someone make one of the biggest purchases of their life? And so I learned very early on the value of what realtors do. And so through that, I ended up being in sales for 17 years of my career. That was quite the journey. I went from, entry level, then I ended up leading a team of about 30, 40 sales associates. And then the opportunity came up. I wanted to get back closer to home. Family was a big part of my decision making, but timing's everything in life. And there was an opportunity to relocate back to Ohio. So my journey to leave Ohio brought me right back to Ohio. Full circle. Yes. And so I started a role in the field working with brokers. And I got to learn from some of the best brokers in the country on how they operate, what they do to be able to grow their business, how they can solve problems in terms of generating leads, and all that wonderful information. And then I was in that role for 13 years in the trenches with brokers. And then from there, the opportunity came to where I took over working with MLS partners and associations, where I'm at today. Been doing that for the last 3 to 4 years, and which led me to discover this wonderful podcast that you started back in 2020 and bringing in different folks from different perspectives. Obviously, all of it aligns back to real estate. And I've been able to pick up a number of nuggets just listening to some of your participants and speakers. So there's a little bit of my background. I know that's a condensed version.
It's kind of like all of your life experiences have led you to where you are today. And that's why I always love, asking this question to the guests, because I think it just gives so much insight and perspective onto who you are as a person and what you do, in your business. And it's just fascinating to hear stories. I'm a big fan of stories. So,
everyone's story is unique. So obviously being able to share what you've learned through that process. And, for me, I'm a big believer that you have to really own and become an expert in your category. So I've intently been able to align with some of the best minds in real estate and listen and learn from them. And so it shaped me in terms of a unique perspective, because if someone would have told me 20 years ago in 2003, you'd still be with Realtor.com today, I would have said, you're crazy. There's no way. But in terms of being a good person, focusing on delivering value, and then through that process, build really good relationships. Someone that folks can trust, because you do what you say and you say what you do. And that's been the brand that I wanted to resonate for my career in terms of how I've been able to successfully navigate one organization for 20 years.
That's amazing. I mean, I think the amount of time that people are spending with companies now is less and less and less. We see this going down so long. So the fact that you've been able to have such, an everlasting career and have been, so successful with the company for so long, I think that says a lot. And you are so good at what you do. And you manage so many territories, right? So Ohio's one of them. And then I know you have some other states around us and towards the east. So what all territories are you involved with?
I cover primarily the Northeast. There's about 14 states. So from Ohio to Pennsylvania up to Maine, down to DC. So think of all those states in between. And I'm working regularly with MLS partners, with associations. I'll be traveling next week to Massachusetts to attend their state conference. I'll be traveling the following week to the CMLS conference to be with a lot of our MLS executives as they're trying to navigate what's happened on the MLS side of our business. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the industry, and being out there and being present, being able to be face to face, belly to belly, you can't change that. There's so much value in being able to be in person. Obviously, we went through COVID, and I took this role back in May 2020 when I couldn't even be out there in the field. But the way we've evolved, and the one thing I'll share is just embracing change, the ability to adjust, and we as an entire industry being able to go and start connecting through virtual opportunities, Zoom, Google Meets. I mean, we go down the list of how we evolved. But now we're back out. We're back out in the field. We actually had our own conference. Something we did recently is we bring our customers together, some of our top customers, and just be able to learn from them and be able to hear what's important, and then obviously share the message that we're working through. I mean, we have a lot of change and evolution that we've went through over the last few years. And being able to talk through that and being able to provide a vision on the path forward is so critical when you're trying to build strong partnerships and being able to be successful with all the different changes that are happening with the consumer, with the homeowner, with the home buyer. I mean, we could go down the list of all the things that are changing in this part of the industry at this time.
Yeah, no, it's really important. And I know that was something, I wanted to ask you about too, because, you have had some change going on in with Realtor.com, a new CEO coming on board. And with that brings new vision, new perspective, as you mentioned. Share with us a little bit about Realtor.com, and just for our listeners and members who aren't too familiar with the products and services and the value that the company brings. Share with us a little bit more about that. And what would you want our listeners to know about Realtor.com and what it can bring to the table?
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of some of the recent leadership changes, we have a new CEO, Damien Eales. Damien comes from within News Corp. So if you're not familiar, News Corp acquired Realtor.com back in September of 2014, which was a huge thing for us. Enabled us to compete at a much higher level in terms of what News Corp brings to the table. They have over 120 million visitors to the different assets that make up News Corp, like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, HarperCollins. I could go down the list, but those are just some of the main ones. He was the EVP of Global Head of Transformation for News Corp from July 2020 until he recently took over as our new CEO. And Damien brings a renewed focus on ensuring that we're serving our customers very well. And, he's been actually out there speaking. Some of you may have seen some of his engagement, but he's really brought this energy around bringing Realtor.com back to number one position. I've been with the company for some time, and we haven't talked about it. It's not been something we haven't focused on, or for whatever reason, we were number one. We were the site that was brought to the industry by the industry. And if you recall, there was a speech, the Lion Over the Hill president from Hawaii talked about the internet that was coming, and we were number one. And then, through competition, through an open marketplace, we lost that position. And there's a lot of energy and focus right now within our organization to get back into the number one position. So that's been really awesome to see from someone within the organization who's been there a long time, because I'm a very competitive individual. And I definitely am inspired right now to get that message out.
Want to be that number one. You got to get back to that top spot.
Absolutely. And we have a great story to tell. So our focus and aspiration of being number one in the market is real. And the road ahead for Realtor.com is for us to win and be your preferred marketing partner.
Yeah. And I mean, your site is great. I'm on there all the time, just as, in my role, looking up content and articles and just the information that you guys post, outside of just, homes and agents. And I mean, there's so much more that you guys do, and there's so much value there that I don't know, the average person, if they're not exploring, the site on an everyday basis like me, looking for content and news and stuff like that I don't know that they're aware of. So it's really great. And there's so much. I'm so glad you guys are around and in this new vision and direction. It sounds like it's going to be really exciting.
Absolutely. And I'll expand just a little bit so that the listeners have some context around where we're going.
Yeah.
So, if you look at Realtor.com from a ComScore is a source that pretty much all the industry uses when you're comparing different sites. We have over 72 million unique visitors, over 823 million page views, and the average user spends around 5 minutes. But we have a much more engaged audience than any of our competitors. We have a more experienced audience doing more activities and using more tools. We have more likely to return audience, much more likely to have an account and visit us multiple times a week. We're more likely to be seeking an agent than half of the people who visit Realtor.com and looking for an agent. And over 2.8 million free profile leads were generated in 2022 through Realtor.com. That's a commitment we made as being the official site of the NAR, is to offer a Find a Realtor platform where folks can go and engage and find a realtor, and any of those inquiries or leads are generated back to those agents and brokers at no charge. But when you talk about the future, we're in a knockdown, drag-out battle to be your best partner, and just these metrics won't cut it. All this is great, but you need more. And here is what we have said, and this is what we've heard from you. You need better converting leads. You need seller leads. You need the option of using our concierge program or not. You need the option of buying an exclusive share of voice or not. You need to get consistent quality of leads to your best agents in all markets. You need a seamless app experience, and you need a seamless relationship with your lenders. This is table stakes. This is how we succeed, and you need it quickly and need it fast, and you need it now. What we have heard is we need to deliver these 5 things. So the next 5 things I'm going to share is what we need to deliver on. We need to grow the audience. We need to make sure it's an engaged audience with engaged leads. We need to give you control and tools to manage those leads, and can't be a black box with an algorithm on our side doing the routing. We need to identify products in any market, especially seller leads. And you need a company that needs a company that is going to do a relationship, not as a number, but as a line item. Hopefully that provides some insight for you, Allison, that gives you clarity on where we're going.
This episode of The Real View is brought to you by the Ohio Association of Community Colleges. Ohio's network of community colleges provides accessible training that accommodates the busy lifestyles of aspiring real estate professionals at half the price of a traditional university. With convenient locations in every part of the state, as well as online options, Ohio's community colleges are your smart choice for pre-licensing education. For more details or to start the journey to a real estate career, visit the education page at ohiorealtors.org and then click on the pre-license course locations. Yeah, I think it's really great that you guys have this all laid out and have a true plan, it sounds like, to really move forward, to really continue delivering, a top-notch product for our agents. And it sounds like you spend a lot of time listening, which, is a big deal, just hearing, the needs of our members, realtors, what they want, how your product can help them grow their business. It sounds like you've spent a lot of time on that and have really taken it seriously and have come up with a strategic plan that will really move you guys forward as a company and also our business and our industry, forward. You're such an important part of the realtor world and what we have going on here, that it's going to be critical for you guys to remain successful and keep delivering, at such a high level.
When we're talking through this, it really is critical to hear that feedback from our customers. So what I'm sharing is really coming from within, from those brokers and agents that are in the trenches, working with us, sharing how we can get better, what their needs are. Yeah. So that's as being a really meaningful partner for the industry. We have to take what we're hearing and apply that to our strategy.
And it sounds like you guys are doing a good job at that and have spent a lot of time on it. So that's great to hear. And I know one of the other things you mentioned too is, that relationship with NAR and what that looks like and how, what that means, for us, for our members. Talk to us a little bit more about that. And I know there's a lot of maybe misconceptions that exist, with your relationship with NAR. So why don't you walk us through a little bit of that relationship and debunk maybe some misconceptions that exist.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about the NAR relationship. It's something that has been very critical to our ability to align with the future of the brand. So we have a shared brand, and every realtor should look at Realtor.com as the industry's partner, which is something that's a differentiator for us. Realtor.com is the official listing site for NAR. With regards to what we've been able to accomplish because of the industry's foresight of the internet going back 20 plus years ago, it was established by Realtor.com that when you put your listing online, you don't have to pay for that. If you think about any other industries, like the car industry, for example, when you want to put that car online and market it, it costs money to publish that listing, if you will, of that car. We've established across the entire industry in real estate that when you put your listing online, it's not going to cost you anything. So you need to embrace what Realtor.com has been able to do from the industry, by the industry. When we roll out different features and products and releases and changes to our site, those are shared and discussed with the NAR in advance. So you have a seat at the table to be able to influence how we're shaping the site. This is something that comes up. I think there's a lot of misconception. $0 from your membership with NAR go to Realtor.com. So there's no cost from your dues going to Realtor.com. And we offer quite a bit of benefits at no additional cost to realtors that I actually speak quite a bit on when I'm attending different conferences and trying to educate the realtors and the industry on how do we better take advantage of Realtor.com and optimize it for our business without having to invest any money at all.
That's awesome. I think that's important. I know it's such a hot topic now, where member dues are going with NAR. So I think that is a great point that you brought up to know, that none of that is funding that product. So I think that's really, really great to know.
We've done some recent studies on the Realtor brand, and it is, in terms of trust, is significantly high. It would be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the issues that NAR is working through. And we've recently spoke with some of our top customers at a conference a couple weeks back. And we obviously don't condone any of the bad actors and some of the things that have happened, but we support NAR in terms of being able to be a good partner and work with them closely on how do we bring more to the table. And in my experience, and I'll speak just from my time being in the real estate industry and just in business in general, is when things are dark, that's when, leadership is more important than ever. And I've been, working specifically in this industry for 20 years, and there's so many strong leaders that I've engaged with, that I've learned from, that now more than ever is when change and evolution will happen. And for the better of the industry, for the better of NAR, for the better of the future of the realtor, if everyone can come together and support the leaders that have the right intent, that are doing it for the right purpose, I know that we'll get through this as a whole, because we're connected. We're both at the same table working together. And I see a brighter future because of the recent circumstances, because folks like Tracy Casper, folks that are in leadership like Pete Koff, folks like Mick Gordon, John Mangus, Tiffany Meyer. I go down the list of the fabulous leaders that are just in the state of Ohio that are going to help us elevate and get us to the next level. And that may take a year, may take 2 years, but what NAR does to protect the future of home ownership, what they do to go lobby in DC every year in May during the mid-year meetings, you really need to, if you ask the tough questions, you really need to get to the core of the value of what NAR does. And it's unlike any other industry that has such a lobbying body with folks that are making decisions to help influence the right outcomes that are going to help us for the future and keep that realtor brand prevalent for 10, 15, 20 years down the line. And that's part of what Realtor.com does every day with regards to consumers that come to the site, see the realtor brand, and connect that value back to using a realtor.
Yeah, and the value that the agents bring to the home buying and selling process. I think if we keep that at the forefront of everything that we do in selling that and making that, known, hey, this is why it's so crucial that we have our realtors in our communities and helping people buy and sell homes every day. That message is never going to go away. And that's always going to be, important and relevant to our communities and to what we do on an everyday basis. And, as you mentioned about change, I think we can all agree that change is going to come. It is coming, regardless of what that looks like, we're going to see in the next couple of months. But I love the positivity that you have on the situation and the perspective that hey, we're not going anywhere. We're going to work through this, support the people who are there, really trying to move this association and industry forward, with the best of intentions. And I think that's a really good message and positivity, because it's been so, doom and gloom, I think, for a few weeks now. And it's nice to think about the future and what it will be like after we, come out of this mess, which we will. And it's because of strong partnerships, like you're describing with Realtor.com.
Yeah, I think about my experience and all the past success that I've had to get to where I'm at, and embracing change is critical. And then having strong leadership, you have to believe in what you're trying to accomplish and the goals of where you're trying to go. And I strongly believe in NAR. I believe in what they do. I believe in what Realtor.com does to reaffirm that realtor brand every day in the marketplace. And, asking tough questions is actually a really good thing. Bad actors exist no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing. So when you look at the future, you have to make a decision of who do you support? What aligns with your values? Yes, there's been some issues, but who are the folks that are going to be running this and putting forth the effort on the future. And I'm going to tell you, if you ask those tough questions to those leaders, if you listen intently, the future is right now being able to be shaped on a way we can operate better, differently. And if you embrace change and believe in evolution, we'll be stronger for it.
I think so too. It's a great message. I want to talk a little bit about just some new and upcoming stuff that you guys have going on. I know you mentioned kind of what you're working on in your mission and values that is moving the company forward, but you have some new products coming. You have some new redesigns of things. Tell us a little bit about what you're excited about and what our agents should be excited about too for Realtor.com.
There's so much to talk about, but I'll just stick to some of the recent stuff that we've rolled out. Number one, 2 weeks ago, we completed the rollout of our newly redesigned experience on Realtor.com. The redesign launched in our app back in December, and we just finished rolling out the web here in the last 2 weeks. And this new look brings a contemporary and approachable feel, and it doesn't just look better, it performs better. Across both the app and the web, we saw a significant increase in leads submitted, up 7%, which is awesome, which is one of the things that agents and brokers talk about often, which is we need more leads and we need more engaged leads. And we just don't take your word for it. Here's what our consumers are saying about it. So another win this summer was rebuilding our search ranking algorithm with a completely new machine learning model. And we incorporated many more signals to our machine learning models, including popularity signals for engagement, like number of saved listings, social shares, click-through rates, et cetera. So just a little bit about that. So I won't bore you because I know this can get...
You're talking to a marketing comms person, and I love the web redesign world, and I know the amount of undertaking that it takes to redesign a website. So it's a lot of work. So hats off to you guys for completing that process because it's a massive project.
Absolutely. And I have to give credit to all the teams that have been working endlessly to make that happen. We have some really talented folks, and without them, we wouldn't be able to bring some of these awesome new experiences. So hats off to them. And with regards to transitioning to something else we recently done, we rolled out what's called the Listing Toolkit. On September 13th, we launched the Listing Toolkit nationwide. And the Listing Toolkit is our new subscription-based listing intelligent product. The Listing Toolkit is part of a strategy to create ways to connect more home sellers with realtors who can help them, and to help realtors win more listings and close more deals. The Listing Toolkit gives listing agents a robust set of tools to help them win more listings and the predictive insights they need to help sell their clients' homes in today's challenging market. And the Listing Toolkit will provide listing agents with matching buyers by connecting listing agents to buyers agents through the Ready Connect Concierge Network, the opportunity to promote their clients' listings on Realtor.com to appear in slots 5 through 8 on the search results page when listing matches the user's search criteria, access to listing presentations from Cloud CMA by Lone Wolf, layered with Realtor.com insights, and then featured placement on UpNest, which is the Listing Toolkit customers can choose to join UpNest through the referral benefits program.
That's awesome. That's going to be such a great product. And I mean, what do agents need more right now than more listings? We know how tight inventory is. We know how so critical it is to be getting those strong leads and people who are interested in selling and buying homes. And I mean, it's more important than ever, and especially where our market is right now. I
mean, I consistently hear when I'm out there talking with agents and brokers and how we can deliver more value is we need seller leads. And this is, one of our focuses throughout the next 12 to 26 months is how do we deliver more value and more opportunities to win listings? And Listing Toolkit is going to be, I believe, a really, really, really strong product to help listing agents do just that.
I think so too. If you guys are listening and this is something you want, I mean, who doesn't want more leads and a tight inventory? I mean, we should all be using Realtor.com in these services. I think it's just another tool in the toolkit in where we are in the market right now. So definitely take advantage of this and go explore. What's the best way for our realtors and members to get in touch with you guys at Realtor.com to start exploring some of these products and services, and how should we get connected?
I would give you a couple paths forward. One is please reach out, call us at 1-800-878-4166. That's our customer support number. They can either help you with any technical issues, help you set up your free Realtor.com profile so you can benefit from the free leads that we're generating in the marketplaces where consumers are looking to find realtors. They can also connect you with a sales executive or associate if you're looking to want to talk more about products. For our new listing toolkit, I would recommend any listener to go to succeed.realtor.com/listing toolkit. Succeed.realtor.com/listing toolkit to get more insight on specifically that new solution.
Definitely take advantage of that free profile. I know that's just another way to get your name out there, get involved, spend some time on the website. There's so many great resources on there too. You know, it's really robust. There's a lot of stuff you guys can take advantage of to just help you grow and enhance your business. But this was so fantastic. Leimei, I'm going to call you Leimei because before we started recording, I said, is this actually how you pronounce your name? Because I just call you Leimei. So Leimei, Mike, thank you so much for coming onto the show, for your ongoing support of all this, and for all you do for our industry. You know, I know you'll be around at our events. And also, make sure, guys, to come connect with Leimei at some of our upcoming events. I know you're always going to be around and try to make it to our stuff to go meet and greet with people.
I believe in being out there. I believe being present. And you can't build strong relationships and partnerships if you're not right there listening to your customers. So please do connect. Please share your feedback. Ask tough questions. Believe in the future. Believe you have the right leaders in place. I do. And I'm looking forward to being one of those leaders someday that you guys believe and trust.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you again. Thank you so much for coming on, for all that you do for our industry, for your time and energy, and just sharing all this knowledge with us on how we can do Realtor.com. I know what I'm going to go Google when we wrap up here today. So thanks so much for coming on and for being just a great supporter of us in our industry.
Thank you, Allison.
And to all of our listeners, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back with you next week. Thank you for listening to The Real View. That wraps up today's episode. You can keep up with the latest on the podcast at ohiorealtors.org/therealview and on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Have questions, comments, or suggestions? We want to hear from you. Email us at podcast@ohiorealtors.org. We'll see you next time.